if I can take a quick sojourn to Coach's Corner.
We haven't visited in a while. Let's head to Coach's Corner.
So let's talk about what offense truly is. The great Nick Saviano has, in my opinion, probably laid out the four types shots of tennis, which I think are largely misunderstood.
Okay.
You have defense and you have offense, which most people think, but most people think that that's all there is. There's really neutral and there's build. And Saviano would claim to you, and I think he's exactly right, and I think I'll even go further. The majority of your shots are neutral. You get the chance to build every once in a while. And Alvin, for the listeners out there, the coach and me knows for years at every level of the game. You give me a 10 sample shot rally. 7 of those shots are neutral on either side. There is the occasional player, Sabalenka is one of those players, that has a big enough weapon in the serve and the first strike that 4 of those 10, maybe 5 if she's playing really, really, really well, are building, with one of them being offensive. And by that I mean the other 5 are neutral at best.
Mm-hmm.
And in most days, it's 7 of the 10 are neutral. You might eke out 2 of those shots as building. And the only time a player is in defense is when you have that true offensive ball. Let me explain briefly. Defense means you have no time, court, or options. Offense means you have all the time, all the court, and all the options.
Right.
Which means defense and offense don't happen very often. They're about as far away as east and west. The fact that I'm there, you're there, right?
Yeah.
But the other 7, because we start off at such a tug of war state, it's pretty much even at the beginning. So it takes a lot, which is our game, right? But I say that to say for this match, you had the weapon of Aryna countered by the phenomenal, if you will, counter punish of Coco.
Right. So
you're going to get some ugly, some tenacious, some long, some grueling. And the weather was suspect.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so windy. It was crazy. But again, on both sides. Here's my point. Coach's Corner. If you're going to play the offensive, and we're going to say aggressive, that's a better term, take it on the rise, take it early, take it through your opponent. If you don't have the offensive finish, and let me go back and qualify that, those aggressive on the rise, take time away shots are building at best.
So,
and until you come in and finish, you're not an offense.
All right.
You think you are, but you're not.
Let me layer this in here, because I like the way that you've put it together as far as offense. Let's go backwards. Defense, neutral, building, offense, right?
100%.
And there's
your four steps.
Those are kind of your steps in, big macro level, right? So I was explaining this to Matt in that if Aryna Sabalenka has to hit 150 shots over the course of the match before she starts to break down, that's fine, because not many players are going to force her to hit 150 shots. I'm using 150 as the number, right? That is her. Everyone's got a limit to something, right? Like you can.
That's her threshold.
You can run a 6.5 mile pace for X amount of miles. At some point, your pace will come down, right? Everyone has I use the term Mendoza line for their ability to continue to do something at a certain level, right?
Right.
Aryna finds herself on offense a lot and her opponent on defense a lot because of how dedicated her footwork is and how big she hits the ball, right? Okay. She can take a ball, hit it right past the vast majority of players on a lot of balls that most players can't do that off of, right? You and I are hitting a building ball. She's hitting that as a clean winner going straight through the back of the baseline, right?
100%.
On the other end of the spectrum, Coco turns what looks like defense into neutral, right? Sure. That ball that Aryna hits that usually is crossing over the baseline and is stung her opponent, Coco's there. Like let's say an average player is going to be hitting a stretched out slice backhand, float that thing up as a dink. Coco's is fast enough to slide into it, hit the open stance backhand, and now you're back at neutral again. And she's going to make you do it over and over again Aryna doesn't usually have to build for very long.
100%.
She's usually finishing. And Coco, that is Coco's weapon. Coco makes her continue to build to a point where you don't feel like there's anywhere to go. I felt like at a lot of points, it's just like, where am I going to go? I can't. It's like playing. It's very similar to Yannick Sinner as far as horizontal movement across the back of the baseline. Like, where are you going to go? And I think the key, you know, and this is not hindsight as 2020 because this happened in Madrid. This happened at the U.S. Open a few years ago, right? 100%. Aryna, it's almost like Aryna, you're not going to be able to finish with the ball going through the back of the court. It's got to go off the side of the court, which is...
It can happen, but not as often. And let's add to your point, because you're making a good point here. And she doesn't see it that often.
Right.
That's really, if I may, that's really the issue here, is that most aren't that fast. Most aren't that counter-punishing and that fast. And most won't make her hit that same step up 3 times.
Right.
You can hit 2. Most can hit 1. Hitting 2 is extra, but you can finish off with a volley or a swinger and you're okay. To hit 3 of them, and maybe the third one's on your back foot, and you're a little hesitant about going forward or not. That's where this match really turned on its ear, was on that third ball. And at that point, and I give Coco a lot of credit, she hit more big forehands today. She hit more. She came forward more.
Yep.
Right. Than I've seen her in times past. And I felt that Aryna forced, meaning she was trying to still stay in building, trying to get to offense, not realizing she had been neutralized.
Let me,
and that's where she fell apart.
Let me pop this point in, and I don't really have a good place for it, but you mentioned Coco's forehand, and this is the thing that stood out to me today, as well as in her match against Madison, and then to a certain extent against Boisson as well.
Yep.
Your four stages here, you know, defense, neutral, building, offense. Her forehand, which has been suspect, has held up fine all this tournament. You can even say that her forehand has made a leap. But
I would say.
But what she can do is she can defend with it.
Yep.
She can actually neutralize with it. She can finish with it. She can't dictate with it. So
dictate, and ironically doesn't pass as well. Ironically, of all the counter punishing, she still prefers the backhand pass.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that backhand pass is money. Her 2-shot, I love a 2-shot setup. Like if you can, we're still in the corner right now. So if you can take that first ball when your opponent's approaching you, get that first ball down to their shoelaces, right, where they have to go down and pick that ball back up.
Yep.
Now you got a one way ticket to Main Street there, like 2-shot pass.
Broadway.
Somebody mentioned it in the broadcast today. I can't remember if it was Chris Everett. It might have been.
It was Lindsay.
It was Lindsay. Okay, thank you. That feels better. That feels better. Yeah,
it wouldn't have been Chris. Let me say that as a caveat. Would not have been Chris.
I would have been shocked, but and not to throw shade, I would have been shocked. Lindsay for sure. And they have similar voices. Like you need to be paying attention when you're listening to them without visual. True. But yeah, the 2-shot pass is so key. It's so key. It's so fundamental, but it's so key. And you know, Coco's one of the best in the biz, getting that ball down low and then passing with a much easier, manageable ball to deal with. But yeah, she was able to finish well with the forehand. Obviously, she defended well on that side. Kept her errors down, which I think we knew was going to happen. I guess those are one and the same, right? You would expect the errors to come off the forehand side while playing defense, but she just plants that right leg, you know, open stance, gets that thing up and rolling, and just makes you continue to just keep.
Right.
I mean,
tons of bug you up, had a lot of height on the ball.
Yeah.
And Aryna's 5'11", so to get the ball out of Aryna's strike zone is difficult to do, and she found a way to do it.